2024 was a fun-filled year for puzzling. I set some new goals, learned some new skills, and met some wonderful puzzlers. And now that we've come to the end of the year, it's time for me to look back at those goals and see what I've accomplished. Hi, I'm Sandra, the Puzzling Canadian, and welcome to my channel. Well, 2024 is coming to an end, and it has been quite a journey for me in regards to puzzling. Back in January, I set some goals for myself in regards to puzzling, and now I'm going to take the time to look back and see if I've accomplished some of these goals. In January, I selected 3 goals to work on. The first was to improve my speed in puzzling. Number 2 was to try new brands, new artists, new images. And number 3 was to reduce my to-do pile. So now I have spent a few days just looking at all the information, all the puzzles that I've completed, and trying to do an audit to see if I have actually reached those goals. So let's find out. So goal number 1 was to improve my speed for puzzling. And why did I want to do this? Well, I decided for 2024 that I was going to go to Spain to the World Jigsaw Puzzle Championship. Now, I'm not a speed puzzler. I'm a casual puzzler, but I really wanted to take part in this event. So I needed to put in a lot of practice time in order to improve my speed. But first, what I needed to do was to figure out where I was at the beginning of the year. So I started tracking my times, and I was going to calculate the pieces per minute because I thought that was a better measure to see progression throughout the whole year. So in the beginning of January, my average pieces per minute was 3.68 pieces per minute. And to complete a 500-piece puzzle, it would take me about 2 hours. It really depended on the image, but I would say on average, it was 2 hours. And that is not competitive at all for speed puzzling. So I had a lot of work to do. I started to practice with a variety of piece counts, a variety of images. I then started to focus on specific skills like just flipping the pieces over and seeing how long that would take, limiting my space on the table to see how I organize the pieces. So I really tried to gather as much information and try different strategies. Now, I didn't really start putting in a lot of time for practice probably until mid-April. We had Canadian Nationals at the beginning of May, and I was participating in that also. So I started doing a lot more practicing in May. And then Worlds was in September, and the biggest chunk of my practice time, I would say, is late spring into the summer. I did a lot of practicing, and by the time I was ready to go to Spain, my average pieces per minute was 5.44 pieces per minute. And on average, I was taking about 1 hour and 45 minutes to complete a puzzle. It's not much of a big gain, but for me, I feel that it was a great progress going from 3.68 pieces per minute to now to 5.44 pieces per minute. It's still not competitive, but I was really happy with the progress. Now, what I would do differently? Well, number 1, I think I should have started practicing more diligently right from the get-go in January. I should have made a schedule. I should have been practicing with more smaller piece counts. I really didn't start putting in a lot of time until about late spring. So in hindsight, if I started earlier, maybe I could have made a little bit more progress. I also should have, along the way as I'm practicing, is keep strengthening my upper body, because when you are speed puzzling, it puts a lot of strain on your wrists, on your arms, on your lower back. So I did feel lots of pain by the time I had to compete. I was going through an injury. So I know better now that I got to constantly be strengthening my upper body so that I can be there for an hour and a half doing individuals. Or if you're part of a team, you could be there much longer, almost 2 hours doing a puzzle. So that's what I would do differently in regards to that goal. Now, goal number 2 was to try new brands, artists, and images. And I had some good intentions with this goal, but because of speed puzzling, it sort of just fell by the wayside. I was off to a good start in the beginning of the year, but by the time I got to late spring, when I was focusing mostly on speed puzzling, I wasn't really, focused on this specific goal. Now, in the beginning of the year, I created a list of some brands that I have never tried before, and there were about 40 of them on that list. And I had many of them in my to-do pile, and I managed to complete some, but not as many as I hoped for. I only ended up getting done 8 out of the 40 on that list. So, while I did try those 8, it wasn't what I had expected. I wanted to do at least half that list. And then in regards to the artists, I don't think I kept track of the new artists that I did. So I'm going to have to work on that for 2025. But for images, I did try some new images, and that was thanks to speed puzzling, because I had to work on a variety that I normally don't do. For example, this one right here. A lot of photography I usually don't do. I like doing illustrations. So I worked on harder puzzles and images that are a little bit more challenging, like this one, or we definitely saw this one at Worlds, this one right here. These are images that I normally wouldn't work on. So in that respect, I think because of the speed puzzling, I was forced to try some different images, and some of them weren't that bad. I was starting to get used to the photography images, so I probably will end up doing a little bit more of those throughout 2025. So overall, I did try some new images for puzzling. I was very happy, and some new brands. If I take a look at some of the new brands that I worked on this year, I would say my favorite would be the Yaz brand. That's this puzzle right here. I really enjoyed working on this one. I do have another one in my to-do pile. So out of the new brands, that one was my favorite. So goal number 3 was to reduce my to-do pile. And I have to tell you, this was much harder than I anticipated. I started off really well, focusing on getting some puzzles done. But then as I started to get closer to nationals and then to worlds, I started ordering a lot of puzzles because I felt I needed to prepare myself with a variety of different images. And a lot of those puzzles I have in my to-do pile still because I couldn't get through all of them. At the beginning of the year, my total in the to-do pile was 235 puzzles. And I wanted to reduce that number. Recently, I did a count, and I included any puzzles I got for Christmas, and I also included any puzzles that are still in transit that I have not yet received. So the total in the to-do pile at the end of 2024 was 230 puzzles. Technically, I did reach my goal because I'm less than 235, but it is not what I expected. I really wanted to get below 200, maybe around 180. For my first year working on this goal, but I didn't get close. I just barely made it under. So for 2025, I think I will need to put a better focus on this because I am running out of room for my puzzles. So I'm hoping that in 2025, I can perhaps create some interesting challenges that'll help me reduce my to-do pile. Now, I know that puzzling is supposed to be a very calm and relaxing activity, but perhaps you also set some goals for puzzling this year in 2024. And if you did, I'd be very interested to hear from you about how well you progressed through your goals. Did you achieve them? Please leave that information down in the comment section. I'd like to thank everyone who came along with me on my journey through speed puzzling. It was not easy, but I really do appreciate all your words of encouragement and support. It really did help me along. I also would like to thank everyone for taking the time to watch this video, and not only this video, but all the other videos that I put out during the year in 2024. It means a lot to me. I do appreciate all your comments and your suggestions. So if you have any more suggestions on what you'd like to see going forward in 2025, feel free to leave those in the comment section. And until next time, happy puzzling.